everything goes. Let's go. Feel. Everything goes when the homies hate your personal take. Shakur over tank type of take, it be hurting you to rank. Heated debates about who's better between the birds or the Saints. But post games of which digs is really worse than the paint. And John, Ian, and Dan on the pod, future icons. Ian screaming go birds and Dan trying to fight John. A Rockets fan with the Saints from Philly with a python. Cross me and the boys step over him like he Tyron. Eagle season end with a bowl and nobody sober. Let the Saints be the chance and Dan on Bourbon and Nola. Everything goes. Place your bets with us, take the over. Philly niggas wanna see how red that we gon' make October. At game time is game time. Need your picks, you can clutch it. Gave my ticket to John, brought me back with a bucket. CP3 on the assist and Kawhi be getting his touches. But I'm watching Bron cooking my ticket and I'm like fuck it. Let Ian tell it. He gon' say that Bron is the GOAT. Coming back from 3-1 and barely had him a coach. MJ don't got these records so we laughing the most. And I watched it with my own eyes so now I'm back in the host. I get my lines from Dan and lock it in on fantasy picks. Number one in every league, they can't stand me with this. I'm fleecing the league with every trade I dismantle it quick. Wave a wire, watching the pod to help me handle the shit. Legendary status, keep watching, we gon' reach that. But reach too far, my rocket shooting, and I gotta teach that. Fill the gap with a hit stick. Think I don't see that Hall of Fame vision switching from B-Dog to the T-Man. On your wrist, John Dane time and everything froze. Errol Spence washed up then, and everyone knows you can't see. I see 3 when comparing to those, cause every podcast can't handle when everything goes.
I see what they hear about. Hold on. We gonna run it back. I'm gonna see them, my man, even day.
You told me, hold on, we gonna run it back.
Got my man John in the studio.
We back, baby, for another episode. Appreciate everybody tapping in.
My man E in the top.
What it do, baby?
First and foremost, we would like to thank everybody that's tapped in and everybody that will tap in. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Your support is much appreciated. But y'all already know, before we jump into the topics for today, we got to start with some breaking news. It's been a lot going on, definitely in the football world. You mean? Definitely in the football world, and that's where we're going to start. With the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk. Coach Kyle Shanahan has came out and said publicly that Brandon Ayuk has ghosted the 49ers since his guaranteed money has been voided in his contract. And that was about a month ago. He said it's not on the team part, basically saying that they have reached out to Ayuk, but he hasn't returned any of the calls. How y'all feel about that?
He also said basically that it hasn't
affected the team.
The team, exactly, and that's basically on the player. So the coach said, we don't care, and that's how I feel too. I don't care. I forgot that they was withholding money from him, but he ain't been on the field since I don't know when. And again, I don't care. I don't care about the 49ers for real. And the last time we saw him, he was out there dropping passes and lowering his value on his stock anyway. So I'm cool off you.
Gotcha. How you feel about it, John?
Yeah, I'm gonna second that too, as well as Ian. And we all feel the same way about players that choose the money over greatness. And I don't want to call Brandon Ayuk one of them bulls, but he definitely is borderline, because as soon as he got the bag, which would have been after the 2023 season, where he had his hold in and holding out trying to get his money, like Ian said, he immediately, outside of being hurt, he immediately went out there and was they were a shell of what he was the year before. Like, bro, how you can hoop 10 months ago, and now we come back this new season after you get paid, you chips. And then this season he just been hurt. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's what it is, bro. You don't get paid if you're not available. You're not in the field, bro. Like, no. So,
gotcha. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this quick. I'm gonna second everything that both of you guys just said. Like you said, he got paid in the 2023 season. After that, just looking at his numbers and his few games that he did play last year, because he was hurt majority of the year, but he appeared in 7 games. He only had 25 catches, 374 yards, and no touchdowns.
And you said 25 catches in 7 games?
Yes, that's less than 4 catches a game. Less than 4 catches a game. That's what? Barely 50 yards a game. And you just got paid to be that guy. And you ain't getting the end zone not one time. Now, granted, you might have been out there playing hurt, but we don't want to. You out there. Not only are you out there, you just got paid. You got
A
you got
4-year 120 Joe.
exactly, and then it wasn't like you wasn't getting the targets. You was dropping balls, like you couldn't catch all of a sudden
No
after getting paid.
kidding.
Like instead of
Like your
practicing,
hands
I
hurt,
don't know
bro.
what you was doing. You mean? Like,
Your hands hurt. Like
like I don't know. So yeah, we gonna keep it rolling with the NFL. More breaking news just came out today. Tua Tagovailoa has now been announced as the third string emergency quarterback. And Tyreek Hill also had a few things to say about this. How y'all feel about it?
I feel like I'm back in that play. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, we said on the show earlier this year, like, get him and Mike out of here, bro. Like, he's one of those people. Well, for one thing, I just throw this out there. He's 0-10, I believe it was, in games under 40 degrees. That includes playoffs.
Crazy.
I just say that.
That's
In games under
crazy.
40 degrees. And he's one of those quarterbacks, and we talked about this a lot with like the other QBs that get paid, top dollar based off the team that they're on. He's one of those guys. Well, for one, Miami didn't want to pay him, and because concussions, and they didn't think he was that good. And then he did, and immediately after he got paid, he was dealing with concussions, and he hasn't been good. So I definitely think it is time to pivot. Like, we've seen the same show over and over again. Besides that 2023 season where he led the league in passing yards, and then I think he threw like 30 touchdowns. Tyreek was close to breaking the record, and they got smacked in the first round of playoffs. Of course, I believe by the Chiefs. So
it was cold outside.
Yeah, it was super chilly outside. He was feeling that gust of wind on his back. But yeah, like it just gets to a point where you can't keep running the same thing back over and over again. Where it's like, why would we expect a different result? And you can't stay healthy. You getting hurt. This season he's been available, but it's just running the same thing over and over again. So.
Gotcha. How you feel about it, Ian?
Yeah, pretty much like you said. Like, what more do you expect from Tua right now? The Tua window has closed. Not that as far as I'm concerned,
it's never open.
Really open for real. But like the era where it was reasonable for you guys to expect a playoff win or two, possibly from Tua, depending on seeding and matchups. That window is definitely for sure closed. And he's not contributing to anything that y'all got going on right now. At best, he's contributing to more wins in the win column, and that's lessening your draft pick. And at worst, he's taking away from what you could be building, for the future. So, like he said, I back the play 100%. They call him Tua, turn the ball over.
You drunk.
Yeah, I mean that's what they get into. They have no playoff hopes, so why not give, a young guy that you drafted, last year. Why not give him a shot to prove, whether or not a quarterback should be your concern going into this offseason, or if you should look elsewhere and invest in this young guy that you drafted last season.
So,
before I throw in this real quick too, Dan. He's leading the league in interceptions at 15, and he only has 20 touchdown passes. 14 games in the season.
So, I agree with everything you guys just said, and yes, I've been going that Tua crazy as well. But I do just want to say one thing to defend him. Yes, you bench him. Yes, you bench him. But third string emergency quarterback is crazy. Like, that's crazy. Like, he just been your quote unquote franchise quarterback and your guy for the last 3 seasons, and then he wake up today and he the third string emergency quarterback. That's insane. That's a lot of disrespect thrown to away. I feel as though. Now, he deserves some of it. Yes, he definitely should have been benched and probably sooner. But now just got him as the third string, like just basically saying, okay, like you don't really have no more potential in football. Go sit down. Go sit over there. Like, that's crazy. He was just your guy. Y'all paid him. He got paid.
I feel like he's deflecting for sure. Like in addition to
blaming it
what
on
you said, you're not the answer, but it's like, yeah, bro, we in this place because of you, so you're not touching the field at all. Like,
and
make all the light shine on him. Yeah, for sure.
It's not just him. It's other problems in that whole building. Like, just bringing this up. This was funny. This caught my attention. I know y'all probably seen it. It was the meme of Mike McDaniels, and it was just like, you can't lead a men full of football team and your grandma. It's always going at Mike McDaniels. Every time he up is so like you got to win by winning, and we just didn't win. What? But he can break the game down, and he can call great plays. So like you get what I'm saying? You gotta pick and choose, but so it's not just Tua that's going on in Miami. And then also the second part of this, did y'all have any words about what Tyreek Hill said? Or what his post was, his cryptic post? Going at Teron Armstead talk about, oh, it's because he want to be a podcaster.
No, like he been throwing shade at his team, bro. And I don't understand, like, back your quarterback, but this is the same boy I sent a group. This is the same boy that said Tua was better than Patty.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, don't cause now that he get benched, he got the pretty much the lowest moment of his NFL career now at this point, besides concussions. He's gonna add Apollo into it. Just corny. They should have traded. They should have traded off on Tyreek when he wanted his way out. Like y'all didn't really need. Y'all didn't, not to say y'all didn't need Tyreek, but you'll be okay. Like you will definitely be okay. You got Jalen Waddle behind Tyreek, who was an awesome receiver too. They should have got rid of Tyreek when he was making all that noise and for no reason, not for no reason because they was losing. But
but no, I agree with everything you just said. They should have been traded Tyreek, honestly. And
now he got torn ACL and he 32. Like
yeah, and that's probably why he talking like that, because he know he gonna be going at the end of the season. But at the same time though, bro, you've been talking since you got there, before you got there, on your flight over there. Yeah, I'm going over here because he's more accurate than Mahomes. Oh, all right. Then you get there year two. I don't know what the problem is. You crying on the field, you throwing your helmet. He can't get you the ball. Now you complaining about him, but you just said he was the man, and now you making cryptic tweets online. Like, bro, go sit down somewhere. Where you think you going at the end of the season? Yes, you Tyreek Hill, but do you honestly think somebody about to trade for you or give you a boatload of money and give you the keys to the offense right now with your attitude that you got going on? I don't think so.
I seen the
AB, right?
Yeah, Joseph, he entered his AB arc. I started crying.
Yes, he is, and he need to stop. You like John just pointed out. You coming off a torn ACL, bro. What are you talking? You 32. Like, stop.
Like, 32 is the new 40. He not Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Tyreek need to calm it down. But so yeah, we got some more breaking news in the boxing world. Terrence Bud Crawford hangs up the gloves, finishing his career 42-0. How y'all feel about it?
Watch out, yo.
No, shout out to him. I tapped in. We had this conversation already kind of recently. Like I tapped in kind of late to Bud, and it was around the same time I tapped into Spence, but I definitely lean more Spence than Bud. So his introduction to me was like the villain in a sense. Shortly before they fought or whatever, because you kind of had to pick a side. But much respect to what he's done in terms of working his way up at boxing classes and fighting the hard fights. I mean, like everybody got something to say about the names that he fought, but at the end of the day, whoever you put in front of him, literally, he put him down. He put him down and he elevated, everybody that that he got a chance to elevate. Some people he just folded. I mean, but he was a killer in the ring. I mean, much respect to him. A retirement well deserved, and a career worth being proud about.
Got you. What about you, John?
Fact. Shout out to him. Hanging up while you ahead before you. He literally has nothing else to prove. And at this point too, after Canelo, it's like anybody that he would want to fight. Well, not want to fight, but that you can put in front of him, he kind of has to wait on now at this point. So it's like, why? I might as well just retire while I still got my head on straight. I mean, like I ain't got no root damage. I got all this money. I done beat everybody I put in front of me. My resume is stacked. I'm multi-time undisputed. So congrats to him. And I hope he stays retired too. Because people tell, oh yeah, I'm retired. And then 2 years later they got to fight.
Right.
Like, come on, man. So shout out to him.
So I'm glad you just said that, John. That's the crazy part. So he already just announced his retirement yesterday, and you got people today speculating that he gonna come back in September to do the rematch with Canelo because it's money that he can't refuse. So I hear stuff like that, but at the same time, the Canelo rematch, yes, a lot of people will still line up to see it. The same amount of people, if not more, this time around is going to line up to see it. But I don't think it's going to add anything to your legacy. I really don't. I think you beat him so convincingly the first time that you don't need to fight him again. Now, yes, the money could be life-changing money, but you are Terrence Bud Crawford. Not only have you already made life-changing money because of the Canelo fight, you now getting a whole lot of endorsements. You can now turn this into a whole after boxing career. You know how many boxers we've seen do that? Most recently, Andre Ward is doing that right now with his own thing, his own podcast over there that he got with Roy Jones Jr. Now they got it popping over there. So Crawford, he don't need to step back in the ring to continue to make big bucks. So I don't want people to pressure him to get back into the ring. Honestly, he has nothing more to prove. Like John said, only real threats that could possibly beat Terrence Crawford, he would have to wait on them to build up something that to bring to the table.
Thanks.
So it honestly, he 42-0. It's a great record. He was an outstanding fighter. He's definitely the fighter of our generation, of our era, because him and Floyd is not the same era. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people get it confused because Floyd didn't hang it up until around 2014, 2015, but no. Prime Floyd was late 90s, 2000s to early 2010s. This has since then it's been the Terrence Bud Crawford era. So yes, he's the fighter of this generation, and then we also going to talk more about it in a future episode. The pound for pound list came out. Ring Magazine, the 10 greatest of this past generation, and they got Terrence Crawford at number 3. And I got a lot to say about that. Even though he's not. I don't particularly like him, but I'm a boxing fan and I understand what he did for the sport of boxing. And so we definitely going to talk about that in the near future. And so moving on to our games for today. You know, we got our first game, Catch or Pass. And the first statement for Catch or Pass, we got some NBA for you guys. The Celtics will get another ring from the JT-JB pairing.
I'm catching because he's still only 20.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good 1-2 tandem, and it's really, according to the award, it's a 1-1 tandem. But I think that right now in the NBA, before they begin to allow the physicality across the board, defense is still a scarcity. And I think that if you are a team where your two best players lock up and play defense, that you always got a shot. I think that they are still two guys that are somewhat, in their prime. And JT, he's coming off a significant injury, but is one that he's young enough, I think, to rehab from and come back and learn his body and learn his game again and still be effective and efficient. So with that being said, with the addition of Anthony Simons, in addition to the fact that the Celtics develop players, like they got guys on their roster that we never heard of that they produce right now. And the Celtics, even though, they're not a 1 or 2 seed in the East right now, they higher than what we expected them to be right now. They look better on a nightly basis than what, a lot of people expected to see with no JT in the court with, Peyton Pritchard starting and Derek White, helping run the show and a, 2 kind of rule. With that being said, like I said, I think that once JT come back healthy, they probably got another 2 or 3 year window where they can make something shake. And I think that with the right pieces of free agency around them, they still can make noise and get another chip. Before they talk about shaking them, moving them apart again.
Gotcha. What about you, John?
I'm going to catch as well. And I'll second like what Ian said about their ability to develop players. When you look at the growth of Peyton Pritchard, or more recently Sam Hauser, and they also have Luca Garza on their roster too. Just got drafted, I believe, last year or 2 years ago. Their ability to develop players is very different, and I also believe their ability to make the right kind of moves is also different too. If you consider like their players that they help them when they chip in Drew and Derek, they acquired. And I think the East being the way it is very hard for me to say that they can't go back and win another chip, because I think when you have your 2 best players being wing borderline lockdown defenders, and I go as far as saying they are lockdown defenders that can also on the other end give you 30 apiece, and you have a roster on them. It's so hard. Like that's the formula right there. It's so hard to compete against that, especially when you consider some of your contemporaries in that conference can't really combat you when it comes to that. Like you look at the top, even the next like 3 years, so you'll have Detroit, New York. I mean, if we, Philly, or if we want to put stock into Toronto and Orlando,
Hmm.
at the point in which JT comes back and get healthy, I can't see I can't see them doing much with them. So I'm definitely gonna catch this joint and say that they can win another one because of coaching, team construction, and just the talent and ability of their best two players being very very different. So
So for me, this was honestly this was hard for me, but I'm gonna actually pass on this one because something that Ian said stuck out to me, and me and Ian we're thinking the same way. He said he feels as though they're going to have another 2 to 3 years together. I honestly think 3 years is a stretch. I think once JT come back from this injury, if they don't like get to another finals or be like that close or win another ring after them 2 years, they're breaking them up. So I think they only got 2 more years left together. And with the way that the East is shaking out, I got a little bit more faith in Detroit. Like I know John just brought them up, but you kind of like Detroit, but like I think they're gonna be able to compete with them, bro. Honestly, when JT come back next year, Detroit will still be able to compete with them. And another team that John mentioned, the Orlando Magic, they gotta find their footing. They haven't all been healthy together all year. Like even right now, they're playing, but Pablo is right now playing through injury on the minute restriction. Once they get all of that together, Pablo, when he see Boston in the playoffs, his team lose, but he hoop. And now he got Desmond Bain with him. And now he got Desmond Bain with him. And if Franz Wagner can act like he can play basketball in the postseason and not just the regular season, they can be able to compete with Boston. Because Franz Wagner, he don't really go off in the postseason. He's a non-factor. It's like, okay, Pablo got 35, and then you look at the rest of 8, 10, 12, 7. Like, damn, didn't he have another all-star on the team? Like, I'm confused. But
I'm
so,
not even gonna lie though. So far this season, the Magic, like with the Magic lineups, Desmond Bain has played like obviously he is less basketball to go around when they are healthy, but he's played significantly better when Paulo or Bronx has missed time.
that
Like
is true.
like he was averaging when all three of them was playing, which it wasn't a lot of games. When all three of them was playing, he was averaging like 13 on terrible splits from the field. Like he was just existing. He was trying to find his
Mhm.
foot, and he just putting up
Exactly.
shots when he could
That's
find them. But when one of them missed time and he can go and get 19, 20 shots off, then then he's producing at a higher clip and he's contributing. So it'll be interesting to see how that pan out and what they able to do with a healthy roster and if his role is that number 3 on that team.
Yeah, that's what I said. If they are able to stay healthy and get it figured out, them three playing together with the other pieces that they have, Jalen Suggs is not no scrub. He's a legit point guard,
And he be
legit
guarding.
starting point guard, and he played defense. Yeah, he played defense, and he can get clutch buckets if you need him to. And they got solid bigs over there, so I think Magic will be able to compete. Obviously, we know the Sixers. Joel had a vintage Joel night, but that's all I'm gonna say about it because I don't even want. That was enough of that. What else going on? We got the Knicks. I'm mad I just said that. But so yeah, the Magic. Honestly, I do think the Magic will be able to compete with them. And then that was another team I wanted to point out. The Hawks. Trae Young also been out all year, and this is another guy we're going to talk about in a couple of statements from now. But I do think the Hawks got a nice roster, and if Trae Young is able to blend with that, not even blend because he's the star. Let's not forget that. But yeah, if he's able to come back, still be healthy, and the team fit with him, they'll be great. So I do think it's threats out there for Boston. I don't expect JT to just come back healthy and they just dominate how they did in previous years and they really own threat was for some reason Jimmy Butler in the playoffs.
Yeah, facts.
Honestly. So moving on to the next statement for catcher pass. The Seahawks are closer to one and done than Super Bowl champs.
I'm a pass. I'm a pass on this draw with a slight asterisk. I'm a pass because I believe that they can. I think that because when I look at it, when I go one and done, like their ability to get out of the first round,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that the way it's kind of constructed right now, and tomorrow is going to be a very, 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 very important game for them. But how it's constructed right now, they could easily go to the playoffs and win that first game. So whether they are the 6th seed or the 5th seed, which is a 5th seed, if they lose tomorrow, they will be playing the winner of the NFC South. They're going to smack whoever comes out the NFC South because they would be the 4 or 5. Or if they end up, beating the Rams and going to win that division, they will probably have the best record in the NFC and go with that first round bye or that 2nd seed and be playing Detroit, San Francisco, or Green Bay, somebody at the bottom. Now, I do want to say, like I said, with the asterisk, it does the same way I feel about Daniel Jones where he got hurt in the case of playoffs. How each of I look at them damn near one and the same, kind of with Sam Darnold being a little bit better, but your ability to perform in the playoffs. Like I do think that Sam and he draw last year. He did draw because week 18 when they played Detroit, he went to bed. And then in the playoffs, he shit the bed again in the first round. They got smacked.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yes, back-to-back weeks. So it's very hard to say, but I do think, that big game and big-time experience has helped him grow as a player. And he'll be better when they spin back around this postseason to be able to help that team when he has everything he needs to be able to make a deeper run and be in a first-round exit. So I'm definitely going to pass and say they're closer to being – able to, make it all the way versus being a first round exit. So,
got you. What about you, E?
Yeah, I'm passing as well. I think the defense is legit, and right now I trust the Sammy D and JSN connection. Like you said, John, like last year was last year, and it wasn't a good job, but it happened already, and I think he'll learn from it. And I don't think it got to be no more complicated than I trust the Sammy D and JSN connection. They got I'm not gonna say it's a 2-headed monster, but they 2 running back tandem, in the backfield is one that's efficient, and while it might be frustrating for fantasy football teams, is productive and effective, on the NFL, playing field. They move the ball, they get in the end zone. So I think that's a legit team in NFC. I still think the Rams are the best team in NFC, but Seattle can affect the seeding drastically on this weekend, so we're gonna see.
And I'm sorry, Dan, before you go, I'll go like not the 2-headed monster. This is gonna be not that running back, but they for sure have a 2-headed monster at corner with Witherspoon and Rico Woolen. That's another reason I didn't say, but why I think they closer to making it all the way versus being the one and done because of that defense as well. They got young stars on that defense.
So once again, I guess I'm gonna be the only one going the opposite way because I'm catching this jaw, and I'm catching it for every single reason that y'all just pointed out. Yes, they're 11-3. Let's look at their 3 losses: the 49ers, the Rams, and the Bucks. That's all 3 playoff teams. Yes, I know they played the Bucks earlier on in the year. It's probably not this same Bucks team, but even still, that was the only game that Sam Darnold looked good in. He was terrible against the 49ers, and he was terrible against the Rams. And that's not just playoff games. Let's look at his last 5 games. Although the team is 4-1, in the last 5 games, he got 5 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, 6 total turnovers. He struggled just this past Sunday with the Colts and 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. He struggled again with the Titans and rookie quarterback that only got 2 wins. And then again, he struggled against the Vikings, in which the team scored 26, but not him. It was 4 field goals and a defensive touchdown. So, which Sam Darnold
defense and a kicker elite?
Would Sam Darnold? All these teams are teams that he will have to see come postseason. It ain't no team in the postseason that's not elite. And then you just pointed out the 2 games that we had evidence, good team, good situation, go win us the game. Week 18, first week, wild card, and now y'all think it's going to be any different this year where he just showed y'all 3 playoff type games, 3 playoff type atmospheres, and he did the same exact thing as he did week 18 in the wild card round. Yes, they're 11-3. Yes, the defense is nice. No.
Is the Rams in that last 5 games?
Yes.
He threw 4 picks in that one game though.
Yes,
I know that sounds crazy, but that I gotta provide context to that statement though. Like he threw 4 picks in that one game.
In that one game, and then he had two turnovers. He had 2 turnovers over the other 4 games. What you also not point out is the fact that I only got 5 touchdown passes.
Five touchdowns is drawing. But then also, if you go to the last 5 games, though, granted, like you said, when he goes into the playoffs, he'll be playing elite teams. The defense that he also did play are elite. Like the Falcons have the best. I don't know where they still rank at this point. But when he played
top 5 in passing defense, though.
Yes, they're around top 3 in passing defense. The Colts, although Philip Rivers is playing, the defense still the same. Their defense been putting BTA the whole year. And then you go back to the Titans, they stink. They do suck. Yes, they suck. We know. But their defense at least has bright spots, and they've been able to perform and create problems for opposing quarterbacks. So I do think, like I do hear you there what you're saying, but I do provide a little bit of pushback. And even in let me not say that because I would just cook myself. But some of those games though, like he yes, it does look bad, but I feel like we provide context to the 4 pick to win game and how he's performed the last couple of games. Like I do feel like he's been able to with the help of his team. And why I double down on being closer to contend, because even in the game against the Rams, he threw 4 picks, and they only lost, I think, by a field goal. So it's, that also all constructs to a team being able to win a game, whether it be on the road or at home, when you talk about the playoffs. So their ability to overcome when Sam Darnold does play like 2020 Sam Darnold and still being able to borderline win a game. He throw one less, just like us when we played. We just threw 4 picks. The Chargers, yes. He throw one less interception. I know it's hard. I know you can't really say that when you talk about playoff football and then hypotheticals. But you throw one less pick and be just 10% better, the game goes the other way. So
all right. So I just want to say this last thing before we move off of this. The team matchup. Okay, his best matchup potentially, or what it look like right now, would be the Bucks. But let's think about it. It's postseason. It's one quarterback that rise in the postseason. That's Baker Mayfield. It's one quarterback that in big games, because I'm not even going to say postseason because he only had one postseason game. In big game periods, he don't rise. And what you think going to happen? Baker Mayfield is going to be at home as well because he'll be the division winner. So if he does have to go see Baker Mayfield, it'll be on the road. The Bucks defense is not slouches. Todd Bowles is a great defensive mind. He's going to have a great game plan set in place for Sam Darnold, and then he got to worry about Baker Mayfield on the other end with finally a healthy wide receiver core, and Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that can deliver in the clutch. We know this.
Didn't Baker Mayfield just lose to Kirk Cousins?
He did just lose. Yes, he
Thursday
did.
night, Kirk.
Yes, he did. He did.
So in theory, right? In theory, his playoff spot not even locked up. And his Baker Mayfield.
Oh, no. Yes, it is, because the Panthers just lost right after that on Sunday.
They got the same record.
Okay, and he's ahead of them.
Right, but they have the same record. They still got a division game, and the Panthers got 2 other games left.
They play each other. He's going to beat them.
What I'm saying is that the Bucks are not playing flawless football right now. So if Baker Mayfield don't go out and do what he got to do, he's not even making the playoffs right now. He loses playoff spot to Bryce Young. Then that makes a completely different playoff picture in the NFC.
In my opinion, that really don't change anything to me, because the Bucks was the best of his options. It's still all them other teams in the postseason that
I don't for sure, but that's what I'm saying though. You saying like if he see the Bucks, then blah 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 X, Y, and Z. I'm saying okay, if that's end up being a matchup with whoever comes out the NFC South, but it ends up being the Panthers instead of the Bucks. Right now,
so I'll say this. If the Panthers come out the NFC South, that is the only way I see Sam Darnold winning the playoff game. I'll say that.
All right, we're going to see. We're going to see.
The next statement of Catcher Pass, we got some more NBA for you guys. The Hawks should trade Trae Young and build around Jalen Johnson.
So you big bro.
I'm gonna say yeah, right, and I'm gonna say yeah for 2 reasons primarily. One, because I feel like they have never properly provided Trae Young with adequate assistance in Atlanta. I feel like, to date he has been running and jumping and killing as a one-man army, essentially, in terms of, the caliber player that he is. I feel like he's only getting older. From the moment that he was drafted, we knew that you wasn't putting Trae Young in front of nobody to get a stop. right? He's on a team because of his what he brings offensively, what he brings in terms of scoring the ball, but also just manipulating the game and controlling the game. But they haven't put a team around him for him to succeed. And Jalen Johnson, while he can be a part of that, like that style of play that you want to put around Trae Young, I don't think that he would ascend to the player that the Hawks would need them to be for it to be worth waiting for by the time, Trae Young's again ceiling or that, opening of being the guy has, closed or whatever. I feel like the second reason is that he's too expensive. He's too expensive for y'all to help him right now, and the way that the situation is built and the way that they, adjusting the salary caps and the cap hits and all of that stuff is like it's gonna be time for Jalen Johnson to get paid as well as whoever else y'all trying to bring into Atlanta, and Trae Young already on contract. I just don't see a build up. I feel like we've seen kind of like what John was saying in Miami with Tua. It's just Trae Young is a better player. You mean? But it's like, what else do we need to see out of the Trae Young Atlanta tandem? I feel like the management has thrown smut on his name and they don't really value what he brings to a team anyway. So I think it's good to to have a fresh start and start with no pressure on Jalen Johnson's shoulders. You mean, like if he playing next to Trae Young, it's pressure for him to live up to what we need next to Trae Young in order to take the Hawks to the next level. But if he's starting from scratch and he got the ability to either ascend to whatever kind of player you want him to be or adjust to whoever you put next to him, then it is what it is.
Catch him. And for me, it's honestly, it's simple. Like same logic I use with Tua. Like, bro, just do something else. Like, I don't, and I'm going more so as well, based on how expensive he is too. It's like you're paying, a 150 plus. I forgot Trae's contract, but 150 plus player to come back to a team that is doing the same thing that they was doing when he was there. So I mean, I also personally don't think that the style of play that the Hawks are playing right now is complementary to Trae Young's basketball. I feel like when he comes back, it'll definitely change the pace. That's number one when he comes back to this Atlanta Hawks team, because when Trae Young plays, it is a half court team. The team that they have out there right now with these young guys with Jalen Johnson, and a very important person to this whole addition is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, and then you consider their bench, they're running all game. They're getting out in transition. They have multiple playmakers on offense. And on the defensive side of the ball, you don't really want to see them either. Because you consider the way that they have just simply, and you know what Dyson Daniels is, Jalen Johnson is defender, and you already know what Nickeil Alexander-Walker is based on when he was just in
Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota. Sorry. So I think, kind of rebuild around this structure of team versus Trae, because it's just, and then they also want to trade him anyway. they want to trade regardless. So it's like, why would we not just want to trade Trae? And me personally, I like the style of basketball that Atlanta has been playing this season over what has been displayed by Trae. And that brand of basketball, not to take anything away from Trae, because Trae is a great player. We know what Trae is. But I think that can be a little bit more successful. And as far as it appeals to the eye, over the style of basketball that Trae Young brings to a team too.
So real quick, not important, but you think that the style of basketball is not Trae Young because they're running?
No, because I feel like that their recipe for success right now, and that transitional basketball, that fast-paced basketball, and that I think provides a little bit more success versus what Trae does, and that's slow the game down a little bit more. We're gonna run pick and rolls all game for me, and that's how I'm gonna run my offense in that half court kind of style. Not to say that they don't do it with Trae, but
I get what Josh.
No, like I understand that he's ball dominant when you in the half court, but I think that the fast paced style of basketball is a direct result of them locking niggas up. Like Dyson Daniels led the league in steals last year. Jalen Johnson is a elite defender and an elite athlete. So they running and jumping because they creating turnovers from the other side. If you creating turnovers, Trae not creating the turnovers, he might get a little back tap. He not creating the turnovers, but once we on offense and we running Trae right with you, he diamond y'all up. Trey might go and get 15, 16 assists in that offense because we just running and jumping. He know how to, again, like Trey Young without Chris Paul in the league, you could argue that he's the smartest point guard in the NBA right now. He's been in the NBA how long? Averaging 10 assists for how long? Like,
exactly.
Now he's not guarding, so I get what you're saying in terms of the defensive end. But to argue that like the fast-paced basketball is something that he can't get acclimated to and adjust to, I'm not hearing it.
I'm not saying he can't get. I say he can't get acclimated to it. I just think when you kind of like what you said, you take Trey, and then granted it's one player, but you take Trey out of that. I mean, you insert Trey into that, and you have to replace him with somebody else that is a defender. I think that style of play changes very drastically when you, especially considering like this one player would be kind of not the catalyst, but the first player you pretty much see when you come down the court, because it's not like you. Whatever primary, I guess, out the way, because for one, Trey is 5'11", so you can only put him on, but somebody that's but so small, without him just we giving him the ball on our forward because he's maybe wants to sit in the corner, but he's still an NBA player, so he's gonna get cooked regardless. So this one point guard that you're dropping that's 5'11", he has to see another guard on the end of the court, and that's probably gonna be the primarily ball handler or one of the primarily ball handlers. So I think that kind of sets the tone on what they're able to do if he swap with let's say they had to swap, I don't know, Nickeil Alexander-Walker out of the lineup. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be first defender you see when you cross that court, as opposed to probably will be Trey. And at least I think, me personally, that changes how they play very drastically, and them not being able to do that if Trey is out there.
Okay.
But not to say he can't adjust, because he's, like you say, he's a very smart player. Not to take that away from him. I just, I look at it.
I'm gonna keep my answer short and sweet. I don't disagree with anything you guys said, but I'm just gonna simply pass on this for the simple fact that Trey Young only played 5 games this year. I feel like we at least got to see him with this newly constructed roster and see what they can do, especially in this Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is the weaker conference right now at this current moment. So we just got to see him come back, be healthy, and see what he can do with this team. The team might get better when he come back. Like, we don't know that. It's only been 5 games. Like, we honestly, truly don't know. And then the simple fact that I feel as though Trey Young has earned that right, because he definitely did go on a great stretch. And a great season, a great playoff run when he took them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Took the Bucks to Game 6 when everybody thought the Bucks was gonna sweep them. Let's start with the first round when they thought they was getting sent home by New York. He go in Madison Square Garden. He do what he do. He now become a New York villain. Then the big underdog and the whole time in the Philly series, he keep fighting back. He do what he do. Okay, cool. Now we in the Eastern Conference Finals. Trey Young has made a lot of people in the city of Atlanta come out to Hawks games that haven't been to Hawks game in a long time. He's put the Hawks on the map, and they haven't been on the map in a little while. The last time we probably talked about the Hawks was when they looked good that one year and got swept by Brown and them.
Yeah, with Trey Young and not in Paul
Mills. Yeah, with Paul Mills.
With T. Go ahead.
You mean like no? So we got to give him that. He came as a small guard that nobody really had faith in, and he put Atlanta on his back for a few seasons, putting up 30 and 10. The only way y'all trade him right now this season is if he want to be traded.
And you know why exactly. That's why how you just said he deserved that. That's why I said trade him. He deserved to get out of here and be free to go win. He deserved to go win. Like, go trade him somewhere he could be useful, bro. Like, y'all underutilizing this man.
I'm not mad at that. But so we're gonna move on to our topic for today. We got some football for you guys. The first part to the topic, because it's a 2-part question. Is the QB position currently the deepest it's ever been?
I'm going to say, hell yeah, absolutely, and I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet just so that we not on this all day. I think it's a direct correlation of where we are as a league. Like, I think when you consider, you don't even got to go back that far. Like, if you consider 10, 15 years ago, football was played at a very different type of pace and a very different like a recipe for success. Running backs pretty much dominated as of, I'd say, give or take, like 10 years ago. So I think now, if you don't have that kind of that all-star, rock star, franchise quarterback, you can't kind of cook. And not to say that the running back position is obsolete now, because it's not. But the star quarterback is now a lot more important as opposed to probably 15 years ago when you had to have that running back, that Saquon to power your team, that Jonathan Taylor to power your team, that Marshawn to power your team, etc. And you look at, you go down to the 10th best QB right now is very debatable based on who you ask, but throw Herbo out there. Like, Herbo would be somewhere around the 10th best quarterback in the league right now today, or even, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence or Bo Nix will be a 10th best quarterback in comparison to who will be a 10th best quarterback 15 years ago. You don't even know. Can't compare. So I'm definitely gonna say we're a lot deeper at the quarterback position now as opposed to previous years. So,
Gotcha. What about you, Ian?
I mean, I feel like it's hard to argue against it,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the flat out talent that we can see on the field. Like, the eye test is hard to argue against it. But I also feel like it's flaws within the way that the quarterback position is played today. And it's certain stuff that we've talked about, again, just like how they process defenses, how they read defenses. Like, we talk about the quarterback position being the deepest that it's ever been, but we also got quarterbacks in the league like Kyler Murray that got Call of Duty clauses in his contract. You mean, so it's like, that's good, but like that's real life though.
No, Ian
You
making
mean,
a
like,
solid
yeah,
point. It's easier to play quarterback now.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the quarterback used to be the smartest, most intentional guy on the field at all times. Like you got quarterbacks right now that can make any play, that can roll out. That, you got Caleb Williams that can make a run, make a throw, roll into the right, roll into the left. You mean, up this scene, you can make a sidearm throw. Sidearm throws was unheard of 10 years ago. Only Matt Stafford could throw them. Matt Stafford and Mike Vick. Now you got probably 6 to 10 quarterbacks in the league that could throw it. But you also had quarterbacks like Peyton Manning, who was making 10, 12 audibles before a play and making adjustment for every adjustment that you made. And again, he's a second rendition of the coach on the field. So, and like, again, in the talent aspect, I think that the quarterback is ages from where it was a point in time ago, because I don't think Rex Grossman could touch a bowl game in 2025 or moving forward. And Rex Grossman went to the Super Bowl. That's who Peyton Manning got his ring on. I don't think Rex Grossman could touch the league today, but it's also, like I said, it's flaws within the quarterback position that make me still, be in a sense unsatisfied. And like, all right, the position and talent is deeper, but is more legit quarterbacks of the past for sure.
Got you. So for me, this was kind of tough. So I'm gonna say yes. And for everybody that's watching, please let us know down below how y'all feel about it. Just everything that we've been talking about, but definitely the state of the quarterback. Like, is it easier to play quarterback right now than it was back then? And do we have currently more better quarterbacks? But so for me, I do think we do right now have more high quality quarterbacks. I would say the top 10 right now is better than majority top 10s of a lot of decades. But what I will say is one decade that I don't want to look over is the 90s. The quarterbacks in the 90s was really sharp, and they was really like that. And I think that's probably the closest comparison to now, because there was a lot of quality quarterbacks in the 90s that a lot of people did not know about. Kurt Warner went on to go appear in 3 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. Kurt Warner was working at a market, and a lot of people did not know that. Kurt Warner was working at a market and then jumped in the NFL and did what he did. You have Rich Gannon, who had a great season, took the Raiders to the bowl. They did lose, but he had a great season. He did win MVP. You had players out there like Doug Flutie, who was also another great quarterback. You got the great Jim Kelly, who took the Buffalo Bills to 4 straight Super Bowls. But he didn't win any, so nobody knew his name. But Jim Kelly was like that. You don't get to 4 straight Super Bowls and not be that guy.
Yeah. Thanks.
And then you also got other quarterbacks like Troy Aikman. Now we think about Troy Aikman as a voice talking over the games on Sunday. But no, in his heyday, he was like that. He was that guy. Obviously, you got the big guys like Joe Montana and John Elway. And I want to talk a little bit more about John Elway. John Elway is disrespected I feel as though I think he's the greatest quarterback in that 90s era. A lot of people is going to go Joe Montana. Joe Montana was throwing the ball to Jerry Rice. Joe Montana had a great defense from the moment he stepped foot in San Francisco. John Elway stepped foot in Denver to nothing and waited and stayed there, sat there, and built something up. But so, anyways, the 90s did have great quarterbacks. But talking about the quarterbacks of today, man, it's too many guys today. But hold on. Again, we said Dan Marino, what he said again, it was 2000. What was that? That was what, 01? 01 or 02?
Who?
No, they said Rich Gannon, his MVP season. That was what, 01 or 02? But so, yeah, it was a lot of good quarterbacks of the 90s and definitely the quarterbacks of today. Like, obviously, we got Mahomes, you got Joe, you got Josh, but these newer guys that's been popping out just recently this year and last year, like the young guys, you got Jaden Daniels, like you pointed out, you got Bo Nix, you got Drake May. We don't know if these, well, I feel as though Drake May and Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are here to stay. But this is only their first and second year in the league. So we don't know how great they're going to be already with the top guys that we got in the league as well. You still got Jalen Hurts, who just won his first Super Bowl. He's a young quarterback, but he know how to play the position well. He can read defenses, but clearly he couldn't against San Diego. What was that, weeks ago?
Yo, watch out, yo.
No. He need to be called out on that. We not keep sweeping things under the rug. That's what Eagles fans do. We're not here to do that today. But anyway, the quarterbacks of today are definitely better than most recent years. Although we just definitely did come out of a generation that had Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Eli, and what?
Matt Stafford, Phillip Rivers.
No. Matt Stafford not part of their generation.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Matt Stafford is only 35, 36. I don't consider him. I don't consider Matt Stafford part of their generation. They all the guys I just named. You got Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. Drew Brees, I think, might have came out in 2000 or 99, but I know for a fact Peyton came out 98. Tom came out 97. Those are all 90s guys. Matthew Stafford, if I'm not mistaken, came out in 08 or
09. He came in 09.
Yeah, 10 years away from them. He's not
right, but those guys that you just was talking about, a lot of those guys was retiring in the 2010s, and it's like, yeah, they was retiring, but they was they was starting to dominate at the beginning of the 2010s, like Big Ben, and we didn't mention Big Ben at all, and niggas hate him, whatever. He got how many of them things?
He got 2,
and they hard earned. You mean like they legit rings? You mean like that's 2010? Drew Brees is what 11?
Drew Brees 09.
Oh no, right before it. I knew it was right before, right after. You got A-Rod in that, like it's right on the cusp. You mean, and then Drew Brees still was well into the 2010s, and your cornerback. You mean he ruined y'all chances in the supposed MVP season. You mean like. So it's still I get what you're saying because of where they was drafted, but it's like they still played into that time versus like Matt Stafford, like he was still putting up numbers, he just was losing, but he was putting up numbers during that time period as well, and then he won in the 2020s.
So I'm actually glad that you brought up Matthew Stafford. This was actually a topic that I wanted to have at a later date. I feel like Matthew Stafford right now is the last standing of his era because I don't consider him to be part of the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees era. You know what era that he was not supposed to be because he's the last one standing. You know who's supposed to be playing quarterback with him right now? Cam Newton is supposed to be playing quarterback with him right now. No, we laughing, but I'm being dead serious. Cam Newton right now is supposed to be playing quarterback with Matthew Stafford. He's still supposed to be in the league putting up numbers. He said, what is that? Hold on. Said Big Ben won with Jerome Bettis in the early. Oh, yeah, we know about that. But then he also won one in the 2010, but the first one was, what was that, 06?
Yeah, a long time ago. He was a pup.
Mm-hmm.
He was a pup, but the joint in the back of the end zone of Santonio Holmes against who's that? The Cardinals, right?
With Larry Fitz and Kurt Warner.
Yes, sir. What you say? He came out the market.
He did came out the market slinging that thing. You mean?
Yeah, you.
He was,
hey yo, pause.
He was throwing the ball to Torrey Holt and my man Isaac Kirk, but still he did a great job. But back to what was I saying? But yeah, Matthew Stafford is Cam Newton is supposed to be playing quarterback with Matthew Stafford. I also feel like Colin Kaepernick, but we all know that situation. That's not that's not really his fault. It's not too much he can do about that. Andrew Luck just so happened to retire early, but he's still supposed to be playing quarterback. These
Yeah,
are the
he
guys
got to
of
get mentioned with the greats of that era because he was one of them.
Who?
Yeah, but Andrew Luck,
Andrew
he
Luck.
came after
Oh.
Peyton. He's not with the Peyton
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
for
Matthew
sure. Yeah,
Stafford.
he came after Peyton. Yeah,
Matthew Stafford is the last of his generation. The guys in his generation ain't make it with him. I don't know why. I really don't.
yeah, because
I
I'm gonna
really
keep it
don't.
being like the guys that you just named. I'm not mad at none of them. I'm not mad at Cap, obviously. I'm not mad at Cam because he got mangled and you mean like he got hurt. We saw what he did before that. I'm mad at him for the way that he showed up in the Super Bowl. But outside of that, I'm not mad at Cam at all, and I'm not mad at Andrew Luck because we watching Joe Burrow feel the same way right now. Like that's pain. I'm
Yes.
great, and y'all don't help me. Like he made, I just watched one of the keep four, cut four the other day, and
Mhm.
a quarterback wide receiver duo was Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton.
No,
They
but
talking about this
T.Y.
duo
Hilton,
is
T.Y.
mostly
Hilton was
Andrew Luck.
sturdy for
Yeah,
half a year.
T.Y. Hilton had himself a year, but Andrew Luck made that nigga look legit. That is T.Y. Hilton. Like, like in talks with Big Ben and AB and Tom Brady and Randy Moss, Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton. Come on, bro. Like,
But so moving on to the second part of this question, I think we all in agreement that the quarterback position, although it may be easier, there are a lot more quality quarterbacks
yeah, for
nowadays, and this is definitely the quarterback era. You have to have a quarterback to compete. It was not always like that. It used to be years here and there when you can take a great defense and pack your run game, and you can get there, you can win it all. But nowadays, you need to have a quarterback that can make them throws that in the timely manner that you need them made, honestly. So without that, you're not going to win a lot of games, especially the close games come postseason when everything strength up and the defense are locked in because they got the whole week to prepare for you. They're not thinking about nothing else but you. So yeah. Moving on to the second part of this question, I also think it relates to everything that we were just talking about, comparing the old and the new. How has the ring culture shaped our view of players today? I'm gonna start with you. How you feel about it?
I think that this is another tricky conversation
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in between. I, I come from a place where I value competing, and if you a competitor, then that
Mm-hmm.
means 9 times out of 10 you hate to lose, right? Like it's a lot of people that love to win, but most competitors really hate to
Hate to
lose.
lose. Yes.
Right. So obviously the end goal is to go win. And whether that's football, basketball, boxing, baseball, like whatever sport you play in, the end goal is to win. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also an aspect of that whereas all of those sports outside of boxing,
Mm-hmm.
where this is team sports. So no matter how great you are, you can only control so much. I mean, and I've been in spaces outside of the sports world where it's preached to like control what you can control. So
Mm-hmm.
when we get to a sports world and you got a quarterback that go throw for 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the year, he efficient, whatever. He
Mm-hmm.
gets to the playoffs, he throw 2 touchdowns, 200 yards, and they say that's not enough. You mean because you just managed the game, you didn't turn the ball over, you didn't, you wasn't that driving force to, you didn't get that last drive down the field, you didn't put your foot on their neck, you just survived kind of thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, again, you still got to be graded for how much you saw, but sometimes there's a Josh Allen situation as well, where you go out there and you do everything that you're supposed to do, but at the end of the day, you only play one side of the ball. And like they literally changed the rule for this man because he didn't get an opportunity to possess the ball back. If he got an
There's
opportunity,
two rules for it.
you mean like
Twice.
like if he gets that opportunity to get the ball back, we might be having a totally different conversation about
Mm-hmm.
possibly MVP. I mean Super Bowl MVP Josh Allen and now regular season MVP Josh Allen. When you
Mm-hmm.
take it to basketball and you talk about again the amount of years that somebody got a prime or a winning window. And the amount of people, if my winning window is this 4-year span, but I play at the same time as Shea and Jokic and KD still on the court, and the guys that are hungry right now that are still in the league, plus the people that was around 10 years ago that's still hooping, like it's only so much winning to go around. And So am I saying that a guy that averaged 30 and never made it to the playoffs should get the same respect as a guy that averaged 22 and was in the playoffs every year? Maybe not. But a guy that's getting to the playoffs and putting up numbers and competing and is not a clear, reason that his team is failing, like we got to stop. Like sometimes it's art is I was about to say artists, it's athletes that's eating themselves up. I mean, because of expectation from a crowd, from a fan base. And at the end of the day, not to be that guy, but it is a game. And so I feel like it got to be some stock put into the talent and the overall eye test of, what players can provide and also what they face. Because if you losing because you're a loser, that's one thing. But if you losing the greats, like it got to be some stock in losing the greats.
Gotcha. So hold on, John. Let me just go real quick because I want to make this quick and simple. Because for me, when I think about ring culture, I'm specifically thinking basketball. Because for football, I look at it like this. It's always been hard to win in football. So like we look at players differently in football. Like you don't have to always be a Super Bowl champion in football to be looked at in a certain atmosphere. But in basketball, that's always the case, except for what? Older players that none of us saw play live. And why is that? Because it's the old heads that saw them play live that get to control the narrative and try to push the view of how we should look at these older players. You know how and this is no disrespect to none of the guys that I'm about to name because I do think that they are great basketball players. But we talk about John Stockton, we talk about Karl Malone, we talk about Charles Barkley. These are guys that never won NBA ring, but they in everybody top 3 or top 4, top 5 of that position all time. But then we got a guy currently playing like James Harden, and it sounds blasphemy if you say he's a top 3 shooting guard at all time. Why? Right. But you sitting around talking about John Stockton, the top 3 point guard at all time. John Stockton can't tie James Harden's shoes, and that's no disrespect to John Stockton.
That's fact.
That's
like, come on now.
Disrespect.
Come on now. It's our time to control how we should view the players. We need to stop looking at what other people think that's 50, 40, 60. Okay, you saw them play live. Just how you saw them play live, I'm watching James Harden play live every night. I know that you're not because you got other stuff going on. You just looking at the box score and then just seeing that he's not getting the job done. So, he's a scrub. No, he's not.
Bro, Kevin Durant. Like when we talk about all-time greats, like unless we talking to somebody our age, he don't never come up in nobody's conversation. Like how is Kobe and Mike? You mean like it's never Bron and KD? Like
no,
it's like Bron is the only person from this era of
that some
like after Kobe. Yeah, that's like it's acceptable to argue that's already top 10, and it's like no, bro, like he's elite. Like,
yes.
y'all will put Bird in y'all top 10 in a heartbeat. Kevin Durant, one of them. He would kill Bird, and I love Bird.
Won't put KD in the top 10. But hold
on. And I'm not mad if Bird in your top 10 and KD not. But if Bird in your top 10, you gotta understand why I'm saying KD in mine. Like,
agree. But go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say I was kind of gonna take the route like Dan did because I think basketball is the only. Truthfully, like the only sport that's really applied to ring culture. Ring culture has done a disservice to how we look at players as a whole. Because I think when we think of rings, we disassociate the context of these rings as well. And the most recent example I can give of that is, and I don't know, I'm taking the most extreme example, is LeBron. Right? LeBron has when we talk about ring culture, and why the main reason why a lot of people might have Mike over Bron is because of the rings. And I feel like when I talk about, when I say we dissociate context from that, Bron's reasoning for not having more rings, at least to me, is because he ran into the greatest team that was ever assembled.
Exactly.
Simple. And I think when you talk about a lot of players too, and I'll also talk about Dan, like what you said with John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, and I'll go as far as saying GP and Shawn Kemp too. They don't have rings because they ran to some people's greatest player ever. And I know that's kind of just saying like objectively, like I don't want to just say like that objectively. There's also probably what Ian was saying too, like yes, you had to put stock in somebody that was able to go and win. But I think when you just put your full stock and we use ring culture, we don't use context because, yes, these people are competitors and they come up short, but it's like, okay, why did they come up short? And I feel like that also is another takeaway as well when you think of, like top 5 in the positions or top 20 players of all time, etc. And I think, it changed. I can't even tell y'all when that kind of narrative changed. I feel like that was probably like the last like 10 years or 15 years where we really got to get, or you got to ring, where it's not really like you got to look at the body of work, context of what was going on, especially when we think about 30 years from now. Like, I think Tom will do more so like Bron a service when people talk about they GOAT. Because like now I feel like we in it now, but you look at 20 years from now, always gonna be looking back at like who Bron was losing to. Like he lost to KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and this squad. They would run all these games. Like, yeah, that's who he was losing to here. They run into every year. Or at least when people don't win, the squad. And I do the squad that they was on as well. Like their ability to, perform in the regular season, make it to the playoffs, and they come up short. Like, oh, this player don't got a ring. This player didn't win. Well, why he didn't win? Oh, because he was playing with us 3. So it's like, you mean like what you really want to do? Like you got that fine line of production and how they are versus not winning. So of course, like Ian said earlier, you can't really put the person that's 30 with no hardwood versus 22, and he was able to do it all the way. But I think we have to contextualize it as well when we shoving ring culture and chasing that ring culture and the dynamic of the sports. So,
hold on. Hey, we got a question real quick.
You good? What's the question?
Right there at the bottom, they said D Wade or Harden.
Of what? I can't see it. All time or better?
Yes, D Wade or Harden all time.
Oh, I'm taking D Wade. I'm not gonna lie. 06, and that's all I gotta say. And I know I just kind of countered to what I'm very personal about that D Wade shit. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm taking away. If you ask me who better though, it's hard. It's hard. Like you can't even. I don't think that's fair to say. But if we talking all time, I'm gonna have to take D Wade.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, for me, I'm going Harden. Yes, I know D Wade. That 2006 year was amazing and wonderful. But outside of that 06 year, I'm telling you right now, he did not have another year like prime James Harden and Houston. Nobody was doing what James Harden was doing. 30, 32, 36, and then you follow up the 36 with a fucking 34 the next season. How you average 36 to average 34? First you average 30, then 32. Come on. No.
No.
Go ahead,
Yeah, James Harden a better player than Dwayne Wade. If I'm ranking probably overall player, just impact to the team and stuff like that, then you got to put some stock in the fact that, like they say now with Shea and Jokic, that D Wade play the other end of the basketball, of the floor as well. But I think just what he do offensively is too much. I mean, like I'm ranking Harden over D Wade all the time.
Yeah. And at least for me too. I'm sorry. At least for me too. It's like, yes, Dan. Like what James, honestly, James did was legendary. And I think if it was more of a discrepancy in Wade's production between like 04 and like when Bron got there, I'll probably lean Harden. But like although they weren't hard numbers, he wasn't no slouch, bro. Like he was out there 27, 5-5 on great splits and also playing on the defensive side of the ball. And he was making it to the playoffs besides that 06 year. He was very productive. It's just, the squad and how he kind of had, and he just didn't go in his favor like we was talking about. But I feel like if it was more like a 23, 4-4, not as good on the defensive side of the ball, I would definitely lean Harden. But because he was like he got the flood, like James, he got the flash, not for no reason. Like he was out there putting BTA in the latter 2000s, and right before he kind of when Bron got there, we had to take a back seat, and he's got old fast because he's an older player when he got to the league. He played 4 years at Marquette, I believe. Yeah, 4 years there. So he came to the league like 22, 21. So if it was more of a discrepancy, I would lean Harden. But because he got the numbers to back up that ultimate like 2006 run where he was just. I ain't even gotta get into it, but yeah.
And I think what you just said is why I lean Harden, because like you said, Bron got there, then Bron got out of there, and Wade got too fast. You mean like I don't think it was like it's really kind of a coincidence, but he won before Bron was there. He kind of not stalled, like he was still winning and competing, but then he peaked again. He had to take a backseat when Bron was there, and then he faded off into the sunset not too long after that, and he was moving around, and he went on tour after that. But back to the ring culture, Jones, real quick. I just want to say the same way we talk about ring culture and it affecting people negatively, I think also it affect people positively sometimes, and I know that it show up more often than basketball. But like 3 clear examples of it affecting somebody positive in football, and it being like, that's debatable. Let's have a conversation. Well, one of them
Eli.
not, but Eli is 1, Jalen is 2, and Matt Stafford is 3. Right. So Matt Stafford is a great quarterback. That's the one that I'm saying is not debatable. But it really was like an overnight thing where Matt Stafford won the Super Bowl, and then it was like, oh, like this kid Matt Stafford, not kid, but like this guy Matt Stafford is really great. And we start acting like we didn't watch him throw for
like they already know.
Yeah, exactly. Like when we saw him with Calvin Austin, but it was like, again, he was losing, so we didn't care that he was at a point in time one of the top 5 most talented quarterbacks in the league. Jalen, he won the ring, and then since he won the ring, where again the eye test tells us that he's not a top 5, top 6, maybe not even top 7. You could argue probably top 10 talent level quarterback in the league, but because he got a ring and a Super Bowl MVP at that, and he's played probably his 2 best games of his career on that Super Bowl stage, we gotta have the argument going into every season whether or not Jalen Hurts is top 5 or top 10. And if he's not in your top 10, that's disrespecting because he wins at the end of the day. So again, like, yes, there's value in winning. And do I think that Jalen Hurts is a winner? 1,000%. And do I think that the top 10 or 15 quarterbacks in the league right now feel like they could have won with our roster last year? Yes. And at the end of the day, even though he got to the Super Bowl in 2023, we lost. You mean, like, we lost, and so he got there and we played great, but he lost, and we having top 5 arguments for him every in and out of every year. Eli's going to Hall of Fame because he beat Tom twice, and that's 2 rings. You mean, so it's like, yeah, I hear what y'all saying, and winning is harder in the NFL. You mean, arguably is harder in the NFL. So also the argument that like culture is more reasonable in football. But it's like sometimes it's not even a negative thing, like where greatness is like sometimes you end up in conversations that you don't belong in because you won a Super Bowl and you might have played at a high level at that point in time. I don't think everybody be deserving of that sometimes.
The crazy thing, my friend, is when you even say that, it's different, like the opposite of basketball. You're like, my friend win a ring, and that barely happens to players in the NBA. Like, that's so crazy when you say that, and I sit here and think about it. Because like somebody will win a ring. I'm trying to think of an example in my head, but like you said with Eli or Jalen or Matthew, you win 2 of them. Like Eli won 2 of them things, or Jalen got 1, or Matthew got 1, and then the inverse happens where they position or their status is solidified. Whereas in the NBA, like you think recently, like Jokic or SGA, like SGA, honestly, Giannis, like the past, they got 3-4 year stretches. SGA and Jokic both. Giannis on the defensive side of the ball, 30 plus and double like 5 years straight. SGA 32 plus now 4 years straight on excellent efficiency. He win a ring and he not sniffing top 5, top anything. Like it don't even matter. Like that's so funny when he said it. Like,
I get what y'all saying. Before we slide off of this, though, he said, "Look at Wade always sees and y'all sleep."
I'm saying that's what I just said. Like BTA that joint.
I mean, that's cool and all, but I watched Harden 2017, 2018 season.
You can run them off. Like, you can run them off.
I saw Harden go 30 for 30, and it wasn't just 30 for 30. It was 33 straight games of 30-plus points, the longest streak since Wilt Chamberlain. And it wasn't just 30-point games. It was 50 bombs. It was 40 bombs. He had the most 50-point games that season. And on top of all of that, he was facilitating and running the offense and winning basketball games. Harden never missed a postseason in his whole entire NBA career. Him and JJ Redick.
This year gonna be the first.
You know what? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I'm hollering, bro.
But yeah, y'all. I mean, we had some good conversations today. We gonna wrap it up this week the same way we had the last few weeks with our game of the day. And like last week, like my man John told y'all, we gonna keep track of y'all. We gonna keep track of our game of the days for y'all moving forward. So as of right now, all 3 of us is 1-0. Dan Shay is really supposed to be 2-0, and then me and John 1-1. But you see what's in the pudding, right? So we're gonna rock out with that. This week, our game of the day is the Sixers and the Knicks on Friday at 7:00 Eastern time. And at this point in time, get a floor to y'all. Y'all could give us give picks for game of the day. We're gonna go from there.
Go, Dan. Who you got first? First
So
off, Dan.
yeah, for me, so I'm looking at it, and honestly, I cannot trust. You know what? I'm gonna go Sixers. We from Philly. I'm taking the home team, and then also for the simple fact of the Knicks, they're emotional right now. I definitely feel like the Knicks are emotional because the way they've reacted after winning the jar, and then Karl Anthony Towns talking about, oh, it looked nice saying champions on the shirt, and Josh Hart doing foolish things. I'm not even gonna say what he did. But anyways, you can't be doing all that and just say y'all not gonna hit the banner, act like it don't mean nothing. But damn, you was just on your Pat Bev wave 24 hours ago, right after winning the joint. You already know how that. But now all of a sudden, y'all not gonna hang the banner. Okay, it's cool. Philly gonna come right through, and we gonna smoke y'all on Friday at 7 p.m. sharp.
Respectfully, John, what you think?
I'm gonna go Knicks, and I'm gonna just say I think the Knicks are playing better basketball and they're a better team right now. Plus, they're at home at the Garden. And I think Sixers have been a little bit too inconsistent for me as the season has gone on in comparison to New York. So I'm gonna lean to New York. I take the home team in this joint.
Yeah, for me, like you said, I'm betting on the inconsistency. I'm not gonna lie. Maxey was sick this past week and he missed a couple games. Hopefully he play on Friday. If he don't, then we could void my pick. But I'm banking on my man Maxey playing, and I think that it's a get right game for us. The Knicks have been playing good basketball, like you said, but I think that our recipe is outside in right now, and I think that our guard play is a little bit better than theirs. I'm talking about overall, not just JB. I think whoever get a chance to see JB, we're gonna kill JB and we're gonna put him in some action, make him work on the other side of the floor. And we got some guards to throw at him defensively. Not that they don't got, wings that can match up well with us, but like I said, I think it's a get right game for us. So you can lock in my pick for the week. I'm going Sixers money line.
So me and E, we taking Sixers, and John, you rocking with the Knicks.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. Super crazy. But before we get on out of here, I'm gonna respond to this last comment. Now you know good and well this was not the matchup. You watched LeBron beat Kevin Durant. That was the matchup in the finals. Harden was not the yes, he did what he did to Kawhi, you mean, in the Western Conference Finals and helped get them there. But no, he was not supposed to be that guy come finals time. That was Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook team, and Harden was the third option coming off the bench. D-Wade started. Come on,
that was a crazy comment.
We can't compare that.
No, he talking about crazy comment.
But yeah, if y'all don't got anything else to say, we can wrap it up there. Make sure y'all go check us out on Instagram at Everything X Goals. Make sure y'all check out the stories. We got the parlays dropping for you guys, and they do be smacking. And we gonna catch y'all on the next one.
They do be smacking.
Stay down.